a bill to revoke parental and judicial consent which permits the marriage or civil partnership of a child, and to criminalise child marriage or civil partnership under the age of 18 and for connected purposes. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, imagine you're 16 years old, looking forward to your sixth form education or going into an apprenticeship and enjoying life as 16-year-olds should. When all this comes to an abrupt end because your parents tell you you're going to be married to a man you've never met who is more than 30 years old. You're taken out of school and unlikely to ever return. You're taken to choose your wedding dress and then later taken to the wedding ceremony. So many families, friends and acquaintances are there, but no one, from your teachers to the registrar, ask if you're happy with this. Why would they? Because a child has no rights. The parents have given permission, and that's okay then. Anyone who watched the recent drama Honour, based on a true story where a girl was married at 17 to an abusive husband against her will understand how shocking this can be. She divorced him, which shamed her family, and her fathers and other family members and friends killed her. Her sister was also married at 16 against her will to somebody much older than she was in this country. She was abused by her husband and now campaigns against child marriage. Jasvinder Sanghera from Derby set up Nirvana over 25 years ago to provide help to young women and some men who have been forced to marry. It's helped thousands of girls over the years, but the sadness is that this charity is still needed. Jasvinder's sister poured petrol over herself after her unhappy forced marriage and set light to herself in the streets of Derby. Jasvinder has campaigned over many years to stop forced marriage, and we now have a bill. We need to go further because so many people are coerced into marrying at 16 who dare not say anything to the authorities because they are children and frightened. This is what happens to thousands of girls. Although not exclusively girls, some boys are married at this age too, but it is a minority. Following the first Girls' Summit in 2014, the Department for International Development allocated up to £39 million to support global efforts in preventing child marriages. By this proactive contribution, the UK recognised that child marriages resulted in early pregnancy, social isolation, interrupted or stopped education, limited career and vocational opportunities, as well as the risk of increased domestic violence. Why are we allowing marriage of children in this country when the recognised age of adulthood is 18? The government of this country has signed 2 international human rights conventions that demand signatories end child marriage in their jurisdictions. Well, we're violating those conventions and allowing child sex abuse. This law, allowing marriage with parental consent, dates back to 1929, which was passed when parents were most concerned about property rights. Since then, our understanding of childhood and marriage has changed significantly. The United Kingdom now requires everyone to be in education or training until the age of 18, and then they're encouraged to pursue a university education. Social aspirations have increased, especially for girls and women. A 2012 YouGov poll on the ideal age of marriage found that only 2% thought under 20 is the ideal age for marriage. 49% considered 25 to 29 as the ideal age. And many young people don't actually marry until after 30 these days. Decreasing numbers take advantage of this opportunity every year, at least those who are registered. In 2017, 43 men and 140 women were married under the age of 18, contrasting with 228 men and 3,486 women in 1929. There's an argument used by ministers that numbers are so small it's not worth the legislative time to change. However, preventing the harm to those who are married more than justifies the time and effort. We must remember that many marriages happen outside of Britain, and young women and some but men are brought back into this country already married. The data underestimates the scale of the problem. Religious and cultural child marriages may not be reported, and the Forced Marriage Unit Act cannot act and where the child does not understand marriage or has been groomed to appear willing. The British legal system is respected and followed throughout the world. UK laws therefore have international consequences. Let's consider Bangladesh. Having raised the legal age of marriage to 18 with no exceptions, Bangladesh introduced an exception in 2017 allowing girls younger than 18 to marry in special circumstances. One Bangladeshi government official stated child marriage is legal in the UK, so why shouldn't it be allowed here? And according to Girls Not Brides, 59% of Bangladeshi girls are married before they are 18. Save the Children, in their Global Childhood Report of 2020, estimate that 500,000 young girls are at risk of child marriage because of the economic impact of today's pandemic. The UK's influence is more important than ever, and we should set a high standard. The current law fails to safeguard children in England and Wales and undermines the UK international efforts to prevent child marriage elsewhere. By abolishing the exception and criminalising child marriage, this bill would remove an anachronism in marriage law and protect children worldwide, as well as the integrity of the institution of marriage. Because we have young people staying at education and training, they should not be leaving school. They should not be leaving their education, their training, in order to be married, so that they can never have an economic future of independence. They should not be having children too young. They should not be being forced into this situation. But at 16, very few young people are able to fight against their parents. By the time they get to 18, there is much more of an opportunity because they can see the future ahead of going off to university or further training and having some independence. Life is much better now than in 1929, well, apart from the pandemic, that is. And girls, particularly girls, have many, many more opportunities than young people brought up at that time. At that time, there was really nothing to do but to leave school at 14 and go to work. And the work was pretty menial for most girls. So now, life has changed. Girls can do anything they wish to. They can become barristers, they can become doctors, they can do anything they want. They can work abroad, they can live abroad, they can travel. They have so many opportunities. They can even become MPs now, which is quite a relief. But they will not be able to do any of those things if they miss out on education and training because they've left school to get married. And I think that it is time that this country came into the 21st century and changed it completely so that girls and some boys are protected whilst they are still children. We need to safeguard these children. We need to look after them and provide them with a future, which is what most of them want.
Very good.
The question is that the honourable member have leave to bring in the bill. As mayors of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Who will prepare and bring in the bill?
Sarah Champion, Sir Graham Brady, Mr Virendra Sharma, Henry Smith, Philip Davis, Sir Roger Gayle, Dr Dan Poulter, Mrs Cheryl Murray, Mrs Heather Wheeler, Ms Nusrat Ghani, Fiona Bruce and myself.
Pauline Latham.
Marriage and Civil Partnership Minimum Age Bill.
I thought you're not supposed to do this. Not supposed to do this. All right, we'll just do it. Second reading, what day?
Friday the 13th of November.
Friday the 13th of November.